So the 60 class GPUs from Nvidia always get me excited because in my opinion, these are the GPUs that people actually buy. The 50 and 60 class GPUs, the RTX 3060, 3050 were really popular when they were available in the market. And that's also the reason that the GTX 1060 from 6 to 7 years ago is still one of the most popular cards on Steam's hardware survey. So when Nvidia launched their new RTX 4060 Ti, I had a question in mind. Is this the right time to upgrade, and is this the right card to upgrade to? In this video, let's answer that question. My name is Yusuf and these are my 2 cents on the RTX 4060 Ti from Nvidia. So of course, I don't have the Founders Edition here, and a huge thanks to MSI for lending me their RTX 4060 Ti Gaming X Trio 8G edition. So this is again their signature Gaming X Trio card with 8GB of VRAM. There is also a 16GB VRAM model available in the 4060 Ti, which is $100 extra in terms of the pricing. And the pricing for these aftermarket, overclockable cards is going to be, varying. They are going to be more expensive than the Founders Edition cards. So again, do check out the pricing and see, what fits your budget. But again, the specific card that we'll be testing in this video is going to be the MSI RTX 4060 Ti Gaming X Trio 8G. And talking about the unboxing and design of this card, in terms of the unboxing, you have a really nice box. You have the 4060 Ti branding, the MSI logo, all the features that are printed on the box. You open it up, you get your user guide as well as the GPU itself, and there is also a support or sag bracket because this is a beefy card. Like, it is a really big and heavy card. This is 1167 grams in terms of the weight, so it is over 1 kilo. And just so you don't break the PCI slot on your motherboard, MSI is including support bracket, so you can use that when you're mounting the GPU horizontally. If you're mounting the GPU vertically, I don't think you'll need the sag bracket. So that's that. And talking about the design of the card itself, it is a really nice looking card. It is definitely different from the Founders Edition card from Nvidia. This is more focused towards gamers with the angular design, the RGB, and of course the advantage of going with a Gaming X Trio card from MSI would be the extra cooling that you have. You can push this card more, you can overclock it more, and it's just going to be more stable and more cool in longer gaming sessions. And talking about cooling on the Gaming X Trio, MSI is using their signature Trifrozer 3 cooling technology. So this is the thermal design, which consists of the Torx fan 5.0. These fans are really good in airflow, low noise, and have good static pressure. There is also their copper base plate, which again dissipates heat really well. There is the core pipe technology that they use, the metal back plate, and combined with their airflow control as well as the zero frozer technology, which stops the fan completely when there is no load on the GPU. In my opinion, this is the kind of GPU you get if you want RGB, you want a different kind of design that is kind of more funky on the gamery side compared to the Founders Edition card. And more importantly, if you want to overclock and push the GPU to its max potential and you want those extra FPS, if you want extra bit of FPS, that last drop of FPS in your games, you should go with something like this. And again, as I said, it is more overclocking friendly. So that's that, and it's really nice in my opinion, the design and everything. The RGB can be controlled in their MSI Center software, so this is compatible with Mystic Light. And that's about the card. I like the design and build quality and everything. The metal backplate looks really nice. Now coming to the test bench that I'm using to test this GPU, I have an open test bench here. I have a Z790 Tomahawk MSI motherboard with the Intel Core i5 13600K CPU. I've got 16GB of RAM from PNY. This is their Accelerate. This is DDR4 RAM at 3200 MHz, and you also have the NZXT T120 air cooler here. So again, those are going to be the testing scenarios. I also have an MSI 1TB SSD that I'm using to put my Windows 11 on, as well as all the games. And I'm using the latest version of Windows 11 Pro. And this whole setup is powered by this MSI MPG A1000G power supply, which is PCI compatible. This is ATX 3.0 compatible, so it is smaller in size compared to the other power supplies on the market. As I said, PCI 5 ready. You've also got 80 plus gold certification on this one, 100% Japanese capacitors. Overall, it's a really nice power supply. And another special feature on this one is going to be the 0 RPM mode, which again stops the fan on the power supply as well when there's no load on the power supply. So if you're just idling your PC or not putting much load on it, the fan on the power supply will also stop. And as I said, 100% Japanese capacitors. Overall, it's a really nice power supply, and it is ready for the future graphics cards which want that extra power. You also get the 600 watt PCI 5 power connector inside this, and it is fully modular, so you can only use the cables that you really need, to avoid too much clutter. And that really helps with cable management, in my opinion, and makes your PC look really clean. So that's that. All right, so that's the testing situation. Talking about the ambient temperature in my room, it's about 30 to 32 degrees Celsius because it is summertime in India, so it's kind of hot here. And I've done both gaming benchmarks as well as synthetic benchmarks. So first, the gaming results, and here they are. Starting off with esports titles and games like CSGO, you're getting really good FPS here, upwards of 350. And CSGO is a CPU-based game, and Counter-Strike 2 is right around the corner, but I still wanted to include this just for the OG fans. And yeah, FPS in Counter-Strike Global Offensive is really good. It's playable, and you can use a really high refresh rate monitor like 240Hz or even 360Hz, and max settings at 1080p. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is really smooth. Valorant is a similar story again, upwards of 350, 400 FPS. Average FPS really, looking good in Valorant at max settings, 1080p. So if you're into, competitive esports, or if you're into live streaming and you really want to, play those esports games and get the best experience, I think this card can really pull it off. Moving on to a title like Red Dead Redemption 2, here at max settings in 1080p, so everything cranked up to ultra, you're getting about 85 to 90 FPS, sometimes at hitting the 100 FPS mark at 1080p. I think this is still pretty good for a 4060 Ti. Could have been better, but RDR2 is a heavy game and it is a demanding title, so this looking so good and still giving you upwards of 80 FPS is a really nice performance. And even in action scenes, in combat scenes, you should be able to maintain this kind of frames. Now coming to Far Cry 6, here again at max settings in 1080p, you're getting upwards of 120 FPS. Game looks really good, all the reflections and ambient inclusion looks really nice, and Far Cry 6 is a fun game to play, and when you get about 120 FPS, it is a really nice experience. Moving on to a game like Cyberpunk 2077, which is demanding and doesn't really run well on most systems. You're getting 100 FPS, sometimes dipping down to the 90s at again 1080p maxed out settings. Ray tracing is off though. This is just rasterization. There is no ray tracing here. You can turn on ray tracing if you wanted to, and you will still get really good FPS with DLSS, but just normal maxed out ultra settings, Cyberpunk is giving you a really nice frame rate. The last game that I tried is going to be Microsoft's Flight Simulator, and this is one of those games that is really demanding, and I played it at 1440p max settings, and I was still able to get upwards of 55 FPS, sometimes 60. So again, if you want to play it at 1080p, you should be able to get a stable 60 or above. And Flight Simulator again is really fun to play with a controller, and it's just a really nice immersive experience, and I'm happy that the 4060 Ti at 1440p is still able to give you that 60 FPS experience. Alright, so those are the gaming benchmarks. Now I've also done some synthetic, software related benchmarks like Blender and 3D Mark. So here are the results for those. Alright, so overall, I think the MSI RTX 4060 Ti or the RTX 4060 Ti from Nvidia in general is performing, 10 or 15% better than the RTX 3060 Ti from last year. But there is a major advantage here that is going to be in the power consumption, which is this card takes only 160 watts in terms of the TGP, and last year's card was about 200 watts. So you're, decreasing 40 watts on the TGP, and you are increasing 10 to 15% in terms of the performance. Now it's not that big of a gain, but again, it's more power efficient in my opinion, and it's really cool and quiet. MSI's motto with their Gaming X Trio cards is play hard but still stay silent, and I think they live up to that with this Gaming X Trio 8G in the RTX 4060 Ti. Talking about the temperature numbers on this card, the idle temperatures were about 36.4 degrees Celsius, and the max I saw on this card was about 64.9 degrees Celsius, and the GPU hotspot, which is the actual chip itself, only went to about 79 degrees Celsius, which is really good for the GPU hotspot. So the max temperature in terms of the overall GPU was about 65 degrees, and the GPU hotspot is about 79 degrees. So in terms of the temperatures, I think this is really good. It's staying really cool, and that Tri-Froze 3 cooling technology is doing its job. And talking about acoustics, these fans are barely audible. Like, most of the time they just stop. Like, I was doing my testing, and every time I would stop my game or I would stop my stress testing, the fans would just stop and there's no noise. But even if they are running at full speed, there's a really slight hum which you will not be able to hear. Like, even on an open test bench, I wasn't really able to hear this card, and here are the noise levels of this fan. So again, temperatures and acoustics are really good. Overall, I think this card is good. A few things that are worth mentioning is that the memory bus on this card is only 128-bit, so it's not the best when it comes to productivity apps like video editing and rendering and 3D modeling. You do lose a little bit of performance, but again, it makes up for that in terms of the gaming performance. So when you have hybrid applications, like when you're doing live streaming and stuff like that, or screen recording, this card is going to do really good. And of course, it is an RTX card, so it has all of the latest Nvidia AI features. You've got DLSS and AI upscaling in this one, and you'll be able to use all those softwares like Nvidia Studio as well as Nvidia Broadcast. You also have in-game features like Nvidia Reflex. So all of the new latest technologies here. You've got third generation ray tracing cores. You've also got fourth generation AI cores, which do help in AI upscaling, and DLSS works like magic. Like, most of the times in most games, it does a really good job. It makes the gameplay smooth and it also makes the game look better. In my opinion, DLSS is a big advantage for Nvidia. Even if their competitor graphics card can get you the same kind of FPS or even more FPS, the DLSS technology, in my opinion, is a big game changer when it comes to gaming. So if you're getting less FPS in a game, you just turn on DLSS and you'll be able to get an instant boost in terms of the frame rates. So I really like the software and AI features Nvidia is including in the RTX 4060 Ti and overall in just their RTX graphics card. So ray tracing performance is unmatched here, so neither AMD or Intel can match the ray tracing performance of this card. So in games like Control or RDR2 or even in Cyberpunk, you are able to get that extra ray tracing goodness in terms of the fidelity and the quality of the game itself, and it just makes the game look way better. And future games are going to have ray tracing, so I think this card is going to do well. But again, as I said, it's not the best when it comes to doing video editing or content creation, like when you're rendering video. It does have the new AV1 codec, and of course you have Nvidia's NVENC encoder, so it's also really good for live streaming. But if you're superiorly focused on just the video editing as well as video rendering side, I would suggest you go up to the 4070 or maybe a 4080 to get the best performance, where you have a wider memory bus. But all of that aside, they increase the cache memory, and there is 32 megabytes of level 2 cache, which kind of makes up for everything. That cache is so fast and there's so much for the card to use that even with a narrow bus, it's doing a really good job in terms of performance. So just considering the gaming performance in rasterized games, the 4060 Ti is a good option in my opinion. For $399 or whatever price this card is going to sell at, I think it's a good buy. But with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I personally do recommend the RTX 4060 Ti. Links to buy this card will be in the description down below, so do check it out. Again, a huge thanks to MSI as well as NZXT for hooking me up with the parts to do the testing for this video. And like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on future uploads. If you have any comments, any queries, any questions about the 4060 Ti, do leave them down below in the comment section. I'll be there replying to you guys. But with that being said, my name has been Yusuf. You guys been awesome. Stay awesome, keep smiling, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.